You've probably seen a video of this plant. You touch it and it just shrinks away. It seems almost magical, right? Well, today we're diving into the Mimosa pudica, also known as the sensitive plant. And we're going to peel back the layers on a secret that might just change how you see the entire plant world.
So let's just get right to the big question, the one that this whole thing hangs on. Can a plant, something we usually think of as, just sitting there, actually behave like an animal? Can it make decisions? Can it calculate risk? Can it learn? The answer is pretty wild. All right, first things first, let's look at what makes this plant so famous. It's known for something called seismonastic movement. That's just the fancy scientific way of saying it has this incredibly fast reaction to touch, one that looks for all the world like a reflex.
I mean, just look at that speed. A single, gentle touch and its leaves just cascade shut in a matter of seconds. Now, we've known for a while that it's a defense mechanism, but the real mystery has always been how. How does a plant with no muscles and no nerves pull off something so fast?
And that brings us to the actual mechanics of how it moves. The secret isn't muscle. It's a tiny, brilliant hydraulic engine that's built right into the base of each and every leaf. It's just this incredibly elegant piece of biological engineering. The star of the show here is a little organ called the pulvinus. The easiest way to think of it is as a flexible, water-filled joint. When the plant decides it's time to move, this is where all the action happens. It's all about manipulating water pressure, and it does it with stunning speed. Okay, so here's how this hydraulic hinge actually works. It all starts with a touch. That touch triggers an electrical signal. Yep, an electrical signal, kind of like a nerve impulse in an animal. That signal tells special motor cells to literally dump a flood of charged ions, like potassium and chloride, into the area around them. Now, basic biology tells us that where salts go, water follows. That process is called osmosis. Water rushes out of the cells. They lose all their internal pressure, their turgor, and just deflate like a leaky balloon. That sudden collapse is what physically pulls the leaflet down. It is an unbelievably fast and efficient system.
And this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. To reset the whole system, to reinflate those cells, the plant uses what's called a proton pump. It burns energy, ATP, to pump all those ions back inside. Well, guess what? That is remarkably similar to the sodium-potassium pump that our own nerve cells use to reset after they fire. This is a perfect example of convergent evolution, two totally different lines of life, separated by 1 billion years, inventing almost the same high-tech solution to the same problem. Amazing.
But here's the catch. This incredible defense, it isn't free. Not even close. In fact, it comes at a huge cost, one that puts the plant in this constant strategic bind.
Get this. Every single time the leaves fold up, the plant's ability to perform photosynthesis drops by a staggering 40%. That means for every minute it stays closed, hiding, it's losing a massive amount of energy it could be getting from the sun. It's literally paying for its safety by starving itself. So it all comes down to this really delicate balancing act. On the one hand, folding up might startle a bug, make the plant harder to see, and even show off some protective thorns. But on the other hand, it burns a ton of energy, it costs precious time in the sun, and over the long run, it means the plant grows slower. This isn't just a simple reflex, it's a high-stakes economic decision happening in real time. Which, of course, leads us to an even deeper question. If this defense is so incredibly expensive, how on earth does the plant decide when to use it? How does it know when to be brave and keep its leaves open, and when to be cautious and hide? And this is where things get really mind-bending. Because we're now moving past simple mechanics and into what looks a lot like actual behavior. We're talking about evidence that this plant is actively calculating risk versus reward, and changing its strategy based on what it needs and what's happening around it. Check this out. A study back in 2011 uncovered something amazing. Scientists tested how long it took the plants to reopen their leaves after being disturbed, but they did it under different light conditions. The results were crystal clear. In bright light, where there's plenty of energy to go around, the plants were cautious. They stayed closed for longer. But in low light, when they were basically hungry for photons, they took a bigger risk and reopened much faster. This is classic risk-sensitive behavior. We see it in foraging animals all the time. The hungrier an animal is, the bigger the risks it will take to get food. Well, the sensitive plant is doing the exact same thing. Its hunger for light is directly changing how much risk it's willing to tolerate. And it gets even more complex. A more recent study from just 2023 added another layer to this uncertainty. Researchers introduced wind, a stimulus that doesn't cause direct harm, but it could signal that danger is nearby. And what happened? The plants got more cautious, staying closed for way longer than the plants in the no-wind group. It's like they were thinking, things feel a little sketchy out there. Maybe I'll just lay low for a bit.
Okay, so the plant can make calculated, strategic decisions, but the story gets even stranger because now we have to talk about learning and memory. This might be the most profound discovery of all. This quote comes from a landmark 2014 paper that really shook up the field of botany. Experience teaches plants to learn faster and forget slower in environments where it matters. Just let that sink in for a second. And here's the really clever part. The plant can tell the difference between what's a real threat and what's just a false alarm. If you simulate an insect bite by snipping a leaf, it never learns to ignore that. The threat is real, so the defense stays strong. But if the stimulus is something harmless, like being repeatedly tapped with a drop of water, it learns. It realizes, oh, this isn't dangerous, and it stops wasting precious energy by closing up. That's a basic form of learning called habituation, and it proves the plant isn't just reacting, it's evaluating its experience.
But does it remember? Oh yeah. In this incredible experiment, scientists taught a plant to ignore that harmless water drop. Then they left it completely alone for over 2 weeks. When they came back and started the drops again, the plant learned to ignore it a second time. But, and this is the kicker, it learned way faster. It showed clear memory of that first training session, all without a brain or anything even resembling a nervous system. So what are we supposed to make of all this? Well, it means we have to fundamentally rethink what a plant is. We have to shift our perspective away from seeing them as just passive green scenery and start seeing them as active, dynamic, and, well, surprisingly intelligent life forms.
This sensitive plant really isn't just a fun curiosity anymore. It's become a powerful model organism. Its behavior is so complex, so animal-like, that it completely blurs the lines we thought were so clear between the plant and animal kingdoms. It's teaching us about what intelligence can look like, even without a brain.
And this isn't just for science journals. Engineers are already taking notes. People are designing adaptive buildings that change their skin to control sunlight, just like the plant. They're developing new kinds of sensors based on that amazing pulvinus. We're seeing advanced soft robots that move with hydraulics, and even foldable structures for space exploration, all inspired by this one little plant's genius.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. We've just seen the incredible hidden complexity inside this single, humble plant. If it can calculate risk, learn from its past, and remember for weeks, what on earth might an entire forest, an interconnected web of billions of these organisms, be thinking?